guys, welcome. My name is Sonia and I'm a new immigrant to the US who has just been living in New York City for over 1 year. I'm currently a rising senior and am preparing for college application in fall 2020. Today I want to talk about the 6 things that I wish I knew before migrating to the US. I will be making more high school immigrant related videos in the future as well. So if you're interested, please don't forget to click the subscribe below and give a thumbs up if you find this video helpful. And now, let's get started. The first thing I wish I knew is that it is very important to get yourself in the preparation mode for fitting in a new environment. Now this might sound obvious, like immigration is a huge thing in anyone's life. How can a person ever forget that? But the thing is, especially when you're preparing for college application, this process of preparation will be a long period of time. Normal US kids spend at least their 4 years of high school for this, and you should obviously not do anything less than that. This is particularly important for kids like me who didn't get to spend 4 whole years in the US before college app. If you arrive in the country at some point during high school age, like me, I arrived in the country at the end of sophomore year, so I only had 1 complete year, which was my junior year in the US high school before college application. So the most important thing is that even before departure, you have to keep this thing in mind, which is mentally preparing yourself for a new environment in which you are going to find a place of yourself. And the second thing is that don't get overly influenced by the atmosphere your original country has. This is especially important when you are conscious that the overall atmosphere of your original country is different from the US in terms of education and culture. This was actually a large link that had personally affected myself, so I thought there must be other new immigrant kids that have the same problem as me. So I was from a country that has specifically stressed on academic performance without any other criteria for a student to be outstanding. If you have a competitive personality just like me, you might be lost in the academic stress and forget about other things you need in order to prepare for college application in the US, which are mostly the so-called extracurriculums. This then leads me to my next advice, which is think about some extracurriculums that you can bring to the new country that you are moving to. What do I mean by that is you have to be aware that simply joining a club in your mother country may become a difficult factor for college admissions to actually find the shiny spot on you as a person. Because even in the US, simply joining a club without having any leadership doesn't say much about you other than you possibly have that specific hobby. So it is even less valuable for us to do that in another country which the admission officers wouldn't know much about. So what should you do? From my perspective, it would be the most helpful if you start an initiative which has the cost that you can also find in the US. This certainly requires you to research about the society and culture of the current status of the US, or specifically the region that you know you're going to settle in after arrival. Think about what's the cost that is both needed in the US and your mother country. Once you start an initiative like that before you come, you should then try to continue that cost after arriving in the US and finding your place in a new environment. And following this, my 4th advice is that no matter what kind of personality you have, you should be prepared to network with people when you got here. Getting to know new people and making new friends may not be so difficult for outgoing kids. However, if you are kind of shy or not normally used to talking to strangers, you should actively prepare yourself to step out of your comfort zone and start interact with people. Because although America is not a place that is usually deemed as conservative or strict, especially in big cities, no one will just walk over and start saying hi to you. So if you want to build your influence within your community, The best way is to start from yourself and talk to others with a positive attitude. And once you get acquainted with more people, it will be easier for you to carry whatever career that you had before you come over to the place that you are in later. Now, once you have a general picture of the importance of extracurriculums in the US, you may want to turn around and also pay attention to the standardized tests, such as SATs or ACT, that you will have to take once you arrive in the US. If you are a person that naturally puts some focus on your academic career and you did well in school during your time in your original country, or if you're from a place that has the environment of stressing academic performance, you might have the tendency of being excessively confident towards taking the standardized tests in the US. Although I'm not saying that the tests themselves are just difficult as hell, you should keep in mind that they are designed mainly to examine a person's intelligence, which includes testing skills. Even though we have to admit that this is an era where standardized tests are not the most important factor in a college application compared to your personal insights, you will still want to start ahead and prepare for that as soon as possible. Do the practice tests on a regular basis, read the strategies available online or from books, or even get some in-person help if you feel like you need it. Another thing is that before you actually are put into an environment where kids are all talking about SATs and APs, which are all American exclusive tests, it might be a little hard to motivate yourself to actually start preparing for them. However, I hope if you are watching this video, you would believe that despite the moments you just had to push yourself to do something with which you are not 100% comfortable, they will all pay back one day. Especially in terms of test prep, it is definitely a process that takes time. And for this time, we're not talking about just a few weeks or 2 months, but at least 1 year. Plus, once you land in a new country, it is easy to imagine that your schedule might be pretty tight because of the many new matters that you have to adapt with. And your courses and ECs might just be a lot by themselves. Therefore, the benefit of starting early for those tests is just self-explanatory. Last but not least, a positive and strong mentality is the key towards all kinds of success. You should always face the fact that moving to another place usually comes with a lot of challenges, let alone moving to another country, maybe a country on the other side of the earth from your home. However, the last thing you want to do when you think about this fact is to be afraid. For many immigrant families, immigration means that parents sacrifice a lot to create a better future for their children. Or maybe you have a dream that has to be realized in this foreign land. So you have always to keep those purposes in mind and always be tough and positive whenever there's a challenge coming ahead or there is a risk you have to take. The above are the things that I wish someone had told me before I actually moved to the US. Although I had some regrets for myself as I look back at this point, I really wish my experience can help more immigrant students out there who are waiting for the immigration schedule to come to you. Just remember to utilize your time waiting and always try to maximize the value of it, considering your future in America. If you have concerns or simply want to chat as a prospective immigrant or a new immigrant like me, please feel free to reach out through my Instagram below. I hope to connect with you guys very soon, and I will see you in my next video.